In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a data set using an XSD schema. If you watched the first video in this series on the XML Designer in VisualStudio.net, you saw that we created an XSD schema that involved a book, publisher, and author elements. The next step that we'll take is to create a data set from the schema. The value of creating a data set is to provide an easy-to-use programmatic interface in order to access the data that is defined by this XSD. In this scenario, think of the data set as a set of wrapper classes around your XML information. It will actually create a strongly typed data set that will allow us to refer to the author, the book, the publisher, and all of the sub-elements of this schema and of the resulting XML document in a very object-oriented fashion. When we generate the data set, there will be a number of events and methods and properties that are created for us. So to begin, what we'll do is select Schema and simply select Generate Data Set. Now the magic is not in selecting the Generate Data Set, because as you see, nothing major really happened. But if we actually select the Show All Files, scroll down a little bit, we can see now that a .cs, or in the case of a .vb file was created, which represents the data set for, or the code behind for this data set. So I'm going to open up this class file and take a look at all the code that was generated automatically for us. It's probably better served if we actually take a look at the types dropdown, and we notice that all the properties and methods that were created, an author row object, an author data table object is created, events, event handlers. There's just a ton of code that's created for the author, for the book, for the contact info, and for the publisher. And so we can take a look at any of these and look at the code that was created behind them, and then use this strongly typed data set within our program. In a future video, we'll look at how to actually use this data set that was created within an application and kind of show you the full development cycle from the conception of the XSD all the way through the actual use of the data set that was generated by the XSD. Before we leave this topic, though, I'd like to also show you, if we go back to the actual schema view and take a look at a preview data set, we can look at the data set properties and look at each of the individual items and look at all of their properties for reference purposes or for whatever we wish to gain from looking at this information. It's all read-only. We can't change any of it, but it's still a useful tool and a different way of looking at the same data, the data set. So we hope that you enjoyed this video on creating a data set from an XSD schema, and that you'll learn a little bit more about how data sets and schemas and XML all work together. Thank you very much.